What's going on? What's going on? What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Roy the King Brian, aka Brian, and you are now back watching another live video. So, what's going on, y'all? As you guys can see by the title, of this video, it is called The Power of Rebranding Yourself. The power of rebranding yourself. And we're going to talk about what does that mean, what you can do to rebrand yourself, and just to know if you've even been able to rebrand yourself or you're staying stuck as that same person that you no longer want to be. We are going to be covering all of that in this live video. So I hope you guys are ready for a good episode, a good 20-15 minutes, and let's just get right into it. But before I actually get right into it, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching our videos. Thanks to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel. Our watch time has been growing tremendously. Our view count has been growing tremendously. And yesterday on the YouTube community post, I posted the stats about how many people have been watching my videos, how much watch time, and how many subscribers we've been getting. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you go to my YouTube channel, the community tab, and you guys can see that our channel has been growing tremendously. And it's all thanks to everybody that's been watching, supporting, hitting those thumbs up, and etc. So let's get right into it. Whether you're watching the live now or you're going to watch this live later, let's talk about it. The power of rebranding yourself. So Brian, what does that mean, rebranding yourself? I'm not a brand, right? I'm not a business. I'm not a company. What does that mean, rebranding myself? Personally, every single person is a brand. Every single person, whether you have a business or you don't have a business, whether you have a company or you don't have a company, everybody has a brand. And brand basically is your reputation. What is your reputation? What is the way that you think of yourself? What is the way that you carry yourself? What is the way that you present yourself? What is the way that the world sees you? That is basically your brand, right? The same way that you have a resume, the same way you have a resume for jobs, right? The same way you have a resume and you present your resume and you tell people what you do, what you're qualified, what you are, you have that to yourself as a person, your personal brand, right? The way that you dress, the way that you talk, the way that your mindset is, your mind frame, stuff like that. So we're going to talk about the power of rebranding yourself. And have you rebranded yourself lately? And I'm going to say this, every single person that wants to grow, every single person that wants to be a better version of themselves, every single person who wants more out of life has to rebrand themselves at some point in life. You cannot go your entire life being the same person, right? When you're a baby, that's what you are. You're a baby. When you're a teenager, that's what you are. You're a teenager. When you become an adult, this is where most people get stuck at, right? Because like baby is a few years, teenagers is a few years, adult is a very long time before you go to like senior citizen, right? So a lot of people do not rebrand themselves once they get stuck to this adult stage. They're just like, I'm an adult, and that's basically their branding for a very, very long time. There are very few times in your adulthood where you actually are forced to rebrand, and we're going to cover that later on as I go. So think about this like this. Every successful person, whether that's monetarily, whether that's family, whether that's just personal growth within that own person, has had to rebrand, right? So when was the last time that you rebranded? I'm gonna go over my personal experience, my personal rebranding, and how I've done it in order to give you an idea about what I'm talking about. So obviously when I was younger, my first thing that I wanted to do for myself was become a baseball player, right? So I ended up getting signed up to this baseball league, and I would play baseball every single weekend. I would practice on the weekdays. I would sign up for other baseball tournaments and stuff like that, right? I would practice with my teammates and I would go and play games. And I started getting good at it and getting good at it and getting good at it. But there was a point that I wanted to rebrand myself, right? It just wasn't going as the way I thought it was going to go. And instead of being like, you know what, instead of being hard-headed and headstrong, knowing that that was not going to work out for me, like, okay, I could clearly see I'm not going to become a baseball player. Let me rebrand myself. Let me pivot. Let me become somebody else. So I went from Brian, the person who wanted to become a baseball player, to my next passion that I found in life, which was doing music, being a rapper, creating poems, being creatives, right? And as you guys can see with the rebranding came a new name. Like I went from being Brian, the baseball player, right, to the kid, right? That was my new name. That was my new way of thinking. That was my new way of living my life because my life changed so much. Going from baseball practicing, socializing with your friends, talking about baseball. Now I'm here talking about music. I'm talking about art. I'm spending more time by myself because you need to be by yourself in order to create music, right? You cannot be around, cannot be outside. You have to be inside now. It's completely different. You have to be inside in the studio. You have to be inside making beats. You have to be inside writing these songs, right? So that came along with a name change, and I became the kid. And then I was doing the kid thing for a very, very long time, for about 10 years. So from like 17 or 16, right? So about the age of 23, 24, I became the kid, right? I started getting tattoos. I became the person that I wanted to be as the kid, right? And that was my first major rebranding. Like, this is going to be my new introduction to the world. And people were like, oh, Brian, you're still playing baseball? No, I'm not playing baseball. I'm a musician now, right? I make music now. And then with that came, of course, you get better. I started writing songs in my house, in my grandmother's house. And then that came from me writing songs in the house to recording it, putting it on MySpace. From MySpace, I ended up going to a studio in downtown. From a studio, I ended up doing shows and performances. From performances, I ended up getting played on the radio. I ended up doing my first show outside of New York, which was in New Jersey. I ended up doing another show in Boston. And then eventually, I just fell out of love with music, right? The music wasn't the same. Obviously, every generation, the music changes. The music in the 80s is not the same music in the 90s. The music in the 90s is no longer the music in the 2000s. And the music was changing, and I just didn't relate to the music anymore. So I didn't want to be a musician anymore. I didn't want to be a part of that. And while I was going through my journey of rebranding myself as a musician, I learned about this new passion that I had, right? And it happened because of the music. And that new passion was business, entrepreneurship, selling stuff, making money for myself. Because as a musician, you're depending on your promoter to go make you money. I had a job as well, so I was depending on my job to pay me every 2 weeks. What if my job said, hey, we don't have the money to pay you this week? Which has happened before, right? They're like, we got to wait till Monday. And I'm like, whoa, I work for that money. Now you can't pay me? Yeah. So I realized, you know what? I like depending on myself. I don't want to depend on no company or nobody like that, right? To give me my own money. I could make it myself. So with that rebranding, I left the kid, right? I left it. I had to kill that version of who I was at that time, or else I wasn't going to grow. And I stopped being the kid, and I started becoming Royal King Brian, right? Royal King Brian. As you guys can see, with every rebranding stage came like a new name, came a new look, came a new attitude. And Royal King Brian became the business person, right? So I went from baseball player to musician, and now I'm a business person. As you guys can see, my channel is still called Royal King Brian. And my business has obviously grown. I started Dynasty 2015, but I had a business before Dynasty that was doing horrible. It was called Too Easy Entertainment. But I had to learn, right? You know, you're not just going to pivot and rebrand yourself and be great. You're not going to just pivot and rebrand yourself like, hey, I'm going to be this new person. I'm going to kill it starting tomorrow. No, when you're rebranding, you're starting basically new. You're starting fresh, right? You're starting from, man, I was doing this thing for so long, and now I'm having to do this brand new thing that I've never done. But the thing is that you have to do it, because if you don't do it, you're just going to be this person forever. I don't want to be a musician right now, right? The same goals and the same dreams that I had as a 16-year-old is not the same goals and the same dreams that I have as a 30-year-old, right? And this is what happens to a lot of people in adulthood. They become adults and they get stuck, right? They wanted to do something, they did that, and now they've never pivot, they've never changed. They've just been stuck in that same thing, right? So we're gonna go to number 2. Basically, staying stuck, right? If you're stuck, you're not rebranding yourself, right? You're not rebranding yourself. So think about it. When was the last time that you rebranded yourself? When was the last time that you have made a major change in your life working towards something that you want to do, right? That's not for me to know. That's for you guys to know. Again, I wanted to be a musician. I did that. I no longer wanted to do that. I decided to do something else and become Royal King Brian and become a business person. And now my business is going great, right? I had to pivot. I had to let go of the kid. I remember when people were like, oh, you should just keep that name. No, because I want people to know that there's a different version of me. There's a better version of me. There's a version that's transcending the kid. There's a version, I'm no longer that person, right? My mindset has changed. And guess what? I'm Royal King Brian right now. I'm Royal King Brian right now, but I'm not going to be Royal King Brian forever. There's going to be a point that I don't want to do this either, right? And that's the thing. A lot of people, they just get stuck doing the same thing so long, and they're scared to make that next jump to the next level in their life, and they just get stuck there unhappy. You have to already start thinking and planning for your future, right? I'm already knowing the future. I'm not going to be Royal King Brian. I'm going to be a better version of Royal King Brian. I'm going to be a more mature version. I'm going to be transcending, right? Transcending this stage of my life. So when was the last time that you did that? When was the last time that you made a major change? Major changes. I used to live in my grandma's house in the ghetto, in the hood. Then I ended up moving to the outside, like outside the city, to a way better area, way better area. I ended up leaving the city, moving to California, to the suburbs. These are major events, right? These are major events because moving and moving and stuff like that, it puts you in a different situation. Now I'm in a better area. I'm in a better zip code. I'm surrounded by better people. I'm surrounded by smarter people who could help me instead of me being the only person that's giving help, giving help. Now I've put myself in a situation to be better. When was the last time that you took a major step? When was the last time that you moved to a better place? Right? Yeah, think about these things. When was the last time you took a major career risk, right? I'm gonna risk it because I know it's gonna pay off later. It might not pay off right now, but it's gonna pay off later. If you've taken that, congratulations. Because honestly, rebranding yourself, putting yourself out there to yourself, to the world, is a major accomplishment. It's a major risk, but most of the time, without risk, you don't get no reward. Most of the time, without risk, you don't get no reward. So you have to put yourself out there, right? So we're gonna go on to number 3. Every single person that you know that has become successful has rebranded themselves. And I'm gonna give you some examples. Let's talk about one of my favorite idols of all time, Jay-Z. Jay-Z started off his career in the hood, in the projects of Brooklyn. Jay-Z the drug dealer, right? It went from Jay-Z the drug dealer to Jay-Z the rapper. Then it became Jay-Z the musician, because he was no longer just rapping. He was making like great music, right? And then from musician, he became Jay-Z the businessman. 4 major stages in his life, and I'm pretty sure there were other things before that. But those are the 4 major steps in his life. Jay-Z the drug dealer, he was selling drugs in Brooklyn, right? Got locked up, all that stuff, right? Jay-Z the drug dealer, Jay-Z the rapper, when he started rapping about, doing this and that. Jay-Z the musician, because now he was no longer rapping about selling drugs. He was no longer rapping about being in the hood. He was making great music. So he transcended rapper to musician. And then from musician, he became Jay-Z the businessman. And now he's at another level. He's no longer just a regular businessman. It's Jay-Z the billionaire. Jay-Z the multi-billionaire. He's no longer just 1 billion. He is the multi-billionaire. The dude came from the projects. Right? His father was on drugs. His mom did the best that she can, but there's no way that his mom was going to help him become a billionaire. He had to do that by himself. He had to rebrand himself, right? Let's talk about it. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He went from The Rock, the wrestler, right? The Rock, the wrestler. If you smell what The Rock is cooking, he changed his whole name. He's not The Rock no more. He's Dwayne Johnson, the actor. And it was going great. He is, to me personally, the #1 wrestler of all time. And he is, in fact, one of the best wrestlers of all time. And he left that career. He took a risk. He was the highest paid wrestler at that time. He took a risk. I don't want to be a wrestler no more. I want to transcend. I want to be better. I want to be a new version of myself. Stopped calling himself The Rock, became an actor. And now he's not just an actor. He's an actor / producer, because now he makes the movies. So he went from starring in movies to making movies, right? He's the one making the movies. He rebranded himself, right? Mayweather came from a poor family in Michigan, became a boxer, right? Became a boxer. Then he went from Pretty Boy Floyd. He was a boxer. Got broke family in Michigan, right? Became a boxer. Became Pretty Boy Floyd, and then became Money Mayweather. And now he is the greatest boxer of all time. But you see, those came with name changes as well. Name changes as well. Different personality, different attitude. Pretty Boy Floyd, if you go back and watch his fights, Pretty Boy Floyd is not the same person as Money Mayweather. It's the same body, it's the same face, it's the same hands, but it's not the same person. His mindset had to change. His mindset had to expand. His mindset had to grow. He had to rebrand himself. And right now, Mayweather is no longer a boxer. He's retired, and he has the #1 most successful boxing promotion, #1 successful most boxing promotion, and he just started doing that. His boxers are the highest paid boxers. Not just him, his boxers, the boxers that box for him, Gervonta Davis and all these people, right? Another undefeated legend. And he was doing great. Mayweather probably could have won a couple of more fights undefeated, but he said, you know what, that's cool. I don't want to do that no more. I'm a transcend. I'm a level up. He went from Michigan to living in Las Vegas. He moved to a better place. When was the last time again? Like, when was the last time you moved to a better place? When was the last time you got new friends, better friends? Are you still hanging out with the same friends from before? The same friends from 5 years ago? Are you still talking to the same friends from 10 years ago? If that's your family, then that's cool. But you got to level up. You got to level up. And you cannot have people that are just holding you back because they're your friends and your family. Like, I know you hear this a lot, especially when it comes from family and people that love you. Just, I love you no matter what. I love you no matter what. I love you for who you are. But what about if you don't love where you are right now? What about for yourself? If you don't love where you at? Those are conversations you got to have with yourself. I've had those conversations. Man, I wasn't happy being in Dykeman no more. There was a point I loved Dykeman. And I still love it, but I love it in a different way. I love it in a different way. I had to do better. I had to be better. I had to expand. I couldn't let my love for Dykeman be like, oh, you know what? I'm comfortable here. I know the people here. I know the store owner here. I know the barber. I know him. That's my boy. I have to do better. I have to do better, right? You can't let the love for people, that people love you the way you are stuff. Just be happy, the way you are. I love you no matter what. What about if you don't love yourself that way? What about if you need to level up, right? So do it. Rebrand yourself. Take a risk. Take a chance. What is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? I know when people tell me, oh man, what about you move to California and you don't like it? Because I had never been here before, right? For example. Then cool, Dykeman is waiting for me right there. I just go right back. I can just go right back. And guess what? It's going great. So right now you might be asking, okay, Brian, I get it. I get the point, man. I get the point. What can I do to rebrand myself? Well, you have to see, who do you want to become? If you don't know who you want to become, you're not going to become that person, right? Look, 5 years from now, where do you want to live? This doesn't matter what age. You could be 15. You could be 50, 60 listening to this. In 5 years, where do you want to live? Are you saving money to live in that place? Are you doing anything today that's going to get you there, right? Because when I wanted to move to California, I ain't just pick up and move. I had to start saving money. I had to start saving money from before I moved, right? I had to start making decisions like, okay, in case this happens, I need to be prepared. So you got to make those decisions as of right now. You got to start making those decisions right now, right? And a lot of times we always like, oh man, what can go wrong? You got to stop thinking about what can go wrong. You got to stop thinking about what can go right, because right now you've been doing everything the safe. You've been playing it safe. I got a job. I got a stable job. I live comfortable. My rent is not too much. I live in a neighborhood where I know everybody. I'm playing it safe, and you still unhappy. Come on. You're playing it safe. You've been playing it safe this entire time, and you still unhappy. So take the risk. Take the risk. And I'm going to just say this. If I got you inspired right now, like, man, you know what? Brian is right, man. Brian is right. I'm gonna do something. Motivation is not real. Motivation is not real. If you're motivated to do something, that's not real. Because what happens is that you're depending on other people to motivate you. You have to find a burning desire in yourself that you motivate yourself every single day when you get out of bed. The reason why I wear my LA hat all the time, I know people are like, oh man, Brian keeps wearing all this LA clothes, is because to me, it's not just clothes. To me, it's not just a hat. To me, when I see that symbol, it represents, man, Brian, you wanted to get here to do something, do it, because you're here now. It's a reminder. It's not just a hat. Like when I drive my car every single day, it's like there was a point that you thought you couldn't get this car. There was a point that people thought you couldn't get this car and you got it. So anything else that you want to do, anything else that people doubt you on, anything else that you doubt yourself on, you can do it. It's just like it's like a trophy, right? My LA hat is a trophy. I'm here. I'm in California. My car is a trophy. Some people put their certificates up to be like, look what I accomplished. I didn't graduate from school. I don't have those certificates, right? And I don't want them either, right? I don't want no college certificates. These are my certificates. These are my trophies, right? So what is your trophies? What is your accomplishments? What is it that you want to accomplish next? Because I'm pretty sure you've accomplished some things in your life already, but you probably got stuck in certain places. You accomplished something 20 years ago and you're still on that accomplishment from 20 years ago. You accomplished something 10 years ago. You're still stuck on that accomplishment from 10 years ago. Don't be that person. You have to level up every single day. Like right now, I'm Brian, right? I'm Royal King Brian. I'm doing YouTube. I have a business, all this, and that. Eventually, I'm going to be Brian the Father, right? That's going to be probably like a thing, right? That's going to be my next transcendent, Brian the Father. And then my kid's going to grow up. He's going to go away to college. If he wants to go to college, he's going to go away with his girl, with his whatever, right? And then what? I can't just be like, I'm Brian, the daddy that takes care of you, that takes care of he's not like my kid's no longer going to be a baby. I have to take care of myself. I have to take care of myself because I know they're going to leave at some point, right? So right now, while I don't have kids, I'm taking care of myself because I know once I have a kid or whatever, I can't take care of myself the way I take care of myself now. And if you have kids, cool, you're doing stuff for your kids, but you can't give your kids stuff if you don't take care of yourself, right? You can't give the kids the life that they want unless you take care of yourself. Can I get the PlayStation 5 that costs too much money? Can I get the new Gucci sneakers that cost too much money? Can I? Nah. So you got to take care of yourself in order to provide for your kids, right? Because giving your kids a food and meals and all that stuff, they appreciate that. They appreciate that. But eventually they're going to want more. And what's going to happen is that they're going to leave and go get it on their own, right? They're going to leave and go get it on their own. But why don't you show them? Be the example, right? I know I want to be an example. My kids come to me and they say like, hey, Brian, I want to start a business. I did that already. I can show you how to do it. And if I don't know how to do something that they want to do, like if my kids like, hey, Brian, I want to go to college. I'm not really that resource, but I got my partner, right? You find other people. If you want to start a business and you don't know how to do it, you find other people. You want to become a YouTuber, you don't know how to do it, you find other people. My partner, right? I found my partner. She's good at the college thing. Hey, go talk to mom, right? Find other people. Brian, where do I find other people? See, all that stuff is excuses because you can find people anywhere. You want to rebrand yourself, you can find a book, you can find them in a book, you can find them in a YouTube video, you can find them in a podcast, you can find them at a Starbucks, right? So stop making excuses, rebrand yourself. Who is it that you want to become 5 years from now? Who is it that you want to be 10 years from now? When was the last time that you even took a risk? When was the last time you even took a challenge for yourself? If it's been a long time, then it's cool. But guess what? You can start today. And again, motivation is not real. You don't need me to come on these lives every single time and tell you to go do it. You should come on these lives like, yeah, I did that already. Well, he's telling me, well, Brian, I did that already. That's how you should be, right? So thank you guys for watching this live. I hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you guys like the fit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I hope you guys like the fit. And yeah, y'all, but think about it. When was the last time you rebranded yourself? And what is the next brand? What is the next version of yourself? What is the next level up of yourself? What is your next goal for yourself, right? And get it done, man. Get it done. It's your boy Roy King Brian K. Brian. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Get that like, and I will see you on the next video.